Good morning, APAC. Welcome to PyLadies Conference 2023. I'm Ivy, I'm your MC, and now in these sessions we have Professor Swarooprani Manoor. Professor Swarooprani is an assistant professor in the Department of Master of Computer Applications at KLS Cultivate Institute of Technology, Calcutta, India. She has over 18 years of teaching experience and is proficient in Python programming, data science, Unix shell programming, and blockchain technology. She has conducted workshops in Python programming at various colleges and schools, and also conducted a workshop for school students under the banner of PyCon India 2023. She is a passionate educator who is committed to help students learn and grow. She is also a strong advocate for diversity and inclusion in STEM fields. In her spare time, Professor Swarooprani enjoys writing technical articles in Kannada language related to computer science domain and spending time with the family. She has won Quora Kannada Top Writer Award in the year 2021. She is also an avid reader and enjoys learning new things. She graduated from college with a degree in business administration, and she then went on to earn a master's degree in computer applications. She is passionate about sharing her knowledge and expertise with others, and she also looking for new ways to help people learn. Now, today she is talking about a topic about Pythonic principle, the best practice for clean code. About Python, it is a renowned for its simplicity and readability, encourages the developers to write code that is not only functional but also elegant. So becoming a Pythonic programmer goes beyond just writing the code that runs. So to talk about this topic, we have Professor Swarooprani Manoor, and Professor, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. We will start by understanding what is Pythonic programming first. Pythonic programming is all about writing clean code. What is meant by clean code? Clean code is simple and direct, that is easy to read, understand, and maintain. It's all about writing code that is not just functional, but also elegant and beautiful. In the world of Python, we highly value elegance and beauty in code. The reason is, in reality, programmers spend a considerable amount of their time deciphering and comprehending code rather than just creating it. So this leads us to a fundamental truth. Code is read more often than it is written. All right, now let's explore the significance of Pythonic programming. Writing good code is an art. We want our code to read like a good story. If we write clean, well-structured code, it will be easy to read, understand, and also easy to manage. Plus, it's our troubleshooter. If something is off, we can fix it in a snap. Right? It's all about keeping your code base healthy with minimal effort. So that will obviously increase our productivity. So next on the list here is elegance. Python encourages programmers to write code that is concise, pleasing, and expressive because a clear code conveys the purpose of the code. This is all possible because Python syntax is relatively straightforward. It follows consistent formatting. Hence, it is easier to understand the intent of the code even for those who haven't written it themselves. Moving on to expressiveness, think of it as giving our code a voice. We are not just writing, we are having a conversation. So this is about conveying complex ideas in a simplified manner. So how do we achieve this? Use descriptive, meaningful variable names, add comments. See, comments are for better clarity and break down complex tasks into manageable functions, right? So, last but not least, optimized efficiency. Efficiency in Pythonic programming is not about sacrificing readability for speed, but rather achieving a harmonious balance where code remains clear, which makes development enjoyable, leading to optimal performance. So, in a nutshell, Pythonic programming is not just about code, it is about creating a masterpiece. So, we have just explored why Pythonic programming is like creating a masterpiece in code. Now, imagine applying that same concept to our everyday lives. Think about driving, for instance. We have got the highway code, right? It is like a guide for drivers telling us what to do on the road. So this makes driving safer and everyone knows the deal. It's like a language we all speak on the road, keeping things predictable. So now, if you are into Python, there is a similar thing called the Python Enhancement Proposal, or PEP for short. It's like the highway code for Python that offers a set of rules for writing Python code. Imagine you're working in a large team with many other developers, and what if everyone follows their own style of writing code? Your code base will be almost impossible to understand, right? Also, onboarding new developers might be very harder as they won't know the best approach to use. So, this is where style guides come to the rescue. A style guide is a set of rules that developers follow when writing their code to ensure consistency among all the developers. So it's like how the highway code makes driving safer and more predictable. In Python community, we follow PEP 8, which stands for Python Enhancement Proposal 8. It's official style guide for Python that recommends coding standards for Python code. That is created by Guido, the creator of Python programming language. It covers topics like indentation, variable naming, line length, and much more. It's like a grammar book for Python that helps you write clean, readable, and consistent code. So, as I mentioned, PEP8 covers a wide range of style guidelines. I'm just covering some of the most important ones here. First in the list is indentation. In Python, indentation is not just for readability, it's a language feature. PEP8 recommends using 4 spaces for indentation level. And next is line length. PEP8 suggests maximum line length of 79 characters. So this is the recommendation for improving readability. And PEP8 recommends using white space in certain situations, maybe around operators and after commas to improve readability. And coming to naming conventions, PEP8 provides several naming conventions. For instance, function names, variable names, method names should be in lowercase with words separated by underscores. And constants should be in uppercase with words separated by underscores. And coming to comments, comments are very important for explaining the complex code, but they should be used sparingly and only when it is necessary. So when we follow these basic PEP8 rules, you can write a cleaner, more readable Python code that is consistent with the broader Python community. And now, moving on to something called as Zen of Python. The Zen of Python is introduced by Tim Peters. It's a set of golden principles for Pythonic programming. And interestingly, these principles are actually embedded in Python itself. So if you want to view the Zen of Python, you just simply import a module called this. And when you run this command in the Python environment, you will see the 19 golden principles of Zen of Python printed on the screen. So here is a set of principles known as Zen of Python. The first principle focuses on simplicity, readability, and elegance. Often developers are not concerned about the readability while coding. However, Python emphasizes well thought out and easy to use code. So that's what makes Python so popular. So here is an example. When we look at this code, obviously it works without any problem, but understanding the logic becomes a puzzle. Here we have used the assignment and comparison operations in a single statement. So that makes code less readable. Whereas the code here is far more understandable than the previous one. So we should always focus on the readability of the code. And here goes another principle of Zen, that is explicit is better than implicit. So when we look at these two code snippets, in the first one, we can pass a variable of any data type to the function. In such a case, the function can show undesired behavior, or it can also raise exceptions. For instance, if we pass a string and an integer as input to the function, the program will run into an error, right? So to solve this confusion, we can write the code as shown in the second snippet. Here, the add function is defined with explicit data types for the arguments and return value using type hints. The return value is also explicitly annotated here with the int data type. So this makes the code more clear and easier to understand, especially when the code is read by other developers. Right? So now let's understand what techniques to use to write Pythonic code. The first and the most basic tip is to keep your code as simple and readable as possible. Don't get fancy if you don't have to, and don't overcomplicate problems. Use descriptive variable names that accurately reflect the value that they store. Avoid using names such as A, B, C, X, Y, Z that are meaningless, right? So when we use appropriate names, that will remove the need for writing unnecessary comments. And use consistent indentation, break down large tasks into smaller functions. Large functions can be difficult to read and understand. So it is often better to break them down into smaller, make it manageable. So this will make your code more readable and maintainable. And use functions, classes, instances to allow you to avoid retyping code that has already been written once. And use comments to explain complex code, because comments could be helpful for explaining complex code, but they should be used sparingly, only when it is necessary. And use a linter to check your code for style errors. There are a number of linters available for Python. We have PyLint, AutoPep8. So these tools can help you to identify and fix style errors in your code that can make it more consistent and readable. So when we follow these techniques, we can write Python code that is clean, readable, and maintainable. So this will make your code easier for others to understand, modify, and it will also make your code easier for you to maintain in the future. And when looping over a list or other sequence, pass the list or sequence to the built-in enumerate function that will return an integer for the index and the item at that index. So that's straightforward, quite simple. And when dealing with file handling, it is better to go with statement that will automatically close the files when the execution leaves the statements block. So essentially, follow PEP8 guidelines that promotes consistency, readability, and maintainability. So adhere to these guidelines to ensure your code follows best practices. All right. As we conclude our exploration of Pythonic principles and best practices for clean code, remember, learning is a lifelong journey. So stay curious, explore new features, and embrace the evolving nature of Python. So as you continue your Pythonic journey, strive for solutions that are not just functional, but also clear and elegant. So this mindset contributes to code that is not only correct, but also a pleasure to work with. Pythonic mindset involves active engagement with the community, participate in discussions, share your experiences, and learn from others. The Python community is a valuable resource. Remember that cultivating a Pythonic mindset is a journey, not a destination. So thank you for joining me on this journey of exploration. May your code be Pythonic, your mindset be ever curious, and your programming journey be endlessly rewarding. Let's open the floor for discussion. I'm eager to hear your thoughts and address any questions you may have.
Thank you, Dr. Swarooprani, for your talk. From the chat, I do not see any questions. If anybody have any questions, you can just put it in as well. But I do see 2 messages thanking you for sharing all those very good insights coming from Sophia and Amrita. Yeah, and also from Niti. Yeah. Let's just scroll a little bit. Yep. All the emoji coming up. So thank you very much, Professor Swarooprani, for your sharing.
Thanks a bunch.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.